Hey everybody, this is Seth keeping it real, and this is Saad Basim, my brother and warrior. How are you today, Saad?
Doing great, brother. That's the first time I see the sun. I see the humidity a bit in the air. I just came to Florida, unannounced. I didn't know nothing. There's just my kids and my wife's like, "Oh, let's go to Florida." Put the stuff in the car. I didn't even packed fully. I just like, let's go pick up the truck, and we left, and just arrived yesterday. It's
That's
really awesome.
it's such a cool example of what we get to do is you get to live anywhere you want, and that's so awesome. Someone just messaged me this morning like, Seth, look at all these different countries you can start your Amazon business in. It's amazing. Estonia, I mean, Ireland, like there's so many places you can set up a company, and then you can travel there and visit that country if you want, or go wherever you want. It really is amazing. So, well, thank you so much for being here today, Saad. I am truly honored that you're here, and I'm excited. So this is live Q&A for the advanced group. Everyone, as you have questions, feel free just to bring them on in. And I'm going to start with something while we're waiting for the questions. I'm going to start with something I'm going to share with everyone that I think is really helpful. And a lot of people miss this. It's easy to miss. Giveaways. And I did speak to this briefly on Instagram, but I want to go a little more in depth on it. When you are doing giveaways, everyone, it's so important that you first make sure that your Amazon listing has a high conversion rate, that it's excellent, that it's very convertible. If you don't, you will drop so much money down the tube. I mean, you will lose so much. You have to know that it's convertible and that it's very desirable. And people are doing giveaways, so they'll rank, and that's great. But don't rank something unless it converts. And how do I know if it converts? There are several ways you can know this. One is just running PPC ads can give you that data so you can see how convertible it is. But second, you can actually click on the reports in your Seller Central account, download the Parent with Child ASIN report, and go over to your session percentage column that shows you out of 100 people, how many people purchased this product. So that gives you a very helpful number on understanding the conversion. If that conversion rate is low, then doing a giveaway is extremely risky because now you're giving away a bunch of products and you're getting it ranking. But once it's on that first page of search results, it's not going to stick if it's not highly convertible. Second, when our product gets to that first page, it's in a different environment. I'll give an example that I can relate to. So I like to go to the gym and work out. If I go to the gym and there's a bunch of guys doing 175, I look strong by comparison because I can bench like around 215, 225 max. Now, if I go to the gym and I'm around guys doing 275, 300, I look really weak. So when your product's ranking on that first page of search results, guys, it's so important you understand you're now being compared to higher end sellers. So your conversion actually might drop a little bit because when you were on the 7th page, you were dealing with smaller players. When you get to the first page, you're dealing with higher players. And now that also could affect your conversion. So you might be ranking, but your conversion percentage could still drop. Third thought on this, and Saad, if you have anything, I know you're very familiar with this, you want to add later, please feel free to, brother. When you get to the first page of search results and you've been running that campaign, let's just say a giveaway campaign for 7 days or 10 days or however long, 7 days minimum, in my opinion. I think Viral Launch says like between 5 and 10 on average, but let's just say it's 7. It needs to be for a certain amount of time. If it's just for 1 or 2 days, Amazon will consider it an anomaly and it won't rank. But after those 7 days, you can't just all of a sudden stop. In other words, there has to be something that keeps the sales going. So what you want is a combination of PPC ads, of organic buys, and possibly more giveaways as it slowly peters down. So that as the giveaways go down, the PPC and the organic go up. And that way you don't have all of a sudden a huge drop. Because in some cases, that also could be considered an anomaly, and you could lose your ranking really fast. And one last thought. Do this based on a keyword, and do it on a keyword that you know already you can compete with. If it's too high of a competitive keyword, or the keyword is too short tail, then you're going to spend a lot of money and the conversion isn't high enough because it's so short. It has a lot of volume, and a lot of demand, but the competition's too great. So you might need to go more specifically into your niche, and that way it's a lot safer. And the reason I'm sharing this, Saad, is a lot of people have been running giveaways and asking questions about it. And I think these are some really key points that people should not miss.
I think you hit it spot on. I think everything you mentioned is exactly how it is. And also, I think people need to be patient a bit because what happens is that even if you run for 6 days and you don't see the spike that you're in the first page yet, it takes time for Amazon algorithm to actually show up. So you will see like in the first, second, third, fourth day, in some cases, you're actually still in the 10th page.
Right.
It's like, yeah, what's happening? You will see it takes like maybe 5 days until you see right away from 10th to first page. It's going to become like kind of a spike. And that you have to be patient with that. And also, I'll recommend, I know it's nothing to do with keyword ranking, but has a little bit of sales velocity, is running lightning deals if it's possible. If it's being
Saad, you froze on me, man. Saad, can you hear me, brother? I think I lost him. Well, I will continue that thought then. So when you run lightning deals, guys, it gives you an opportunity to get your product in front of people, and it helps with the ranking. Because in a lightning deal, here, give me 1 second, let me go back to the video so I can see you guys. So in a lightning deal, what's happening is your product now is being given away at a huge discount, but it's time sensitive. And as you guys know, when you sell on Amazon, you're marketing. You're a marketer. You're not just a manufacturer. You're also
thank you so much.
froze completely.
Sometimes I do that, like a witch.
He's got skill.
I will scare
Now,
people.
there are two of you in this room. One's like this. See, now I understand the secret to Saad's success. He is a clone. I never knew it. Yeah, he just left because like, no, I don't want him to be a clone, but he's a clone. That's how he does it.
You know what? Exactly what you were saying, brother. Lightning deal is very important. I mean, it's important just for sales velocity and will help you a bit. It's not for ranking, so that's why I want people, to really understand that. But at the same time, it's really it's going to spike the algorithm because of the sales. And that's what I think you mentioned everything correctly here.
Sunshine and good morning, Jonathan Vo. How are you guys? So guys, this is open Q&A. Saad and I are here for the next 50 remaining minutes to answer any questions you guys have that we can help you with. We're here to help. So feel free to ask any questions that you want, even if it's about this really awesome black tea that I'm drinking right now.
Oh. I think people have no questions. I mean, I saw some people actually.
They got all their questions answered. They don't need help. They're like, guys, we're experts now. We don't need you anymore. I'm starting to feel that very valuable.
You know what? That means we're doing something good and people are actually learning, because we don't want them to be dependent on us, right? Like I even tell my coaching sessions, even with mentorship people or anybody that I try to coach, I tell them, I don't want you to be dependent on me. I want you to learn the things by yourself so you'll be able to do them yourself. That's the main focus that the culture just one dime is being around now.
I totally agree, brother. And one of the things I get a little jealous, but I love, is when I see a student start making more money than I do on Amazon. That, like, at first I'm like, what? But then I think, no, wait, that's the whole point, is you want to train people so they can far exceed what you're doing. Like, that's awesome, you guys. And to see that is amazing. There are some extremely high-end sellers in our community that are just completely crushing on Amazon. To see that is absolutely fabulous. Good morning, Gina. How are you?
What's up, Gina?
Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
I'll tell you in advance, Gina will have questions. She always does.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm late.
I'm here.
Yay. Are you in another question?
Go for it. Yeah, we have not had any questions so far. This is very unusual. And Saad was mentioning he thinks that people are doing so well they don't need our help anymore, which is fine. But if you need help, we're here to help you.
No.
You need one coaching session. You get 2 coaches for a full hour.
Yay! I'm happy.
He's like, no one else joined. No one else joined.
That's awesome. Look at me. Oh my gosh. I want to ask so many things. Okay.
I'm here.
She's got this.
I have the list.
Go for it, Gia. That's great. We're here to help you.
Okay. I'm not sure if you know, I have some beach toys. I started with beach toys when I started to sell on Amazon. So at the beginning, I did very bad decisions about that. They were oversized, and I paid a lot of storage fees, and it was uh, beach toys, and they arrived to Amazon by November almost. So beach toys in winter is not a good idea. So I've made a lot of things with those toys. The last thing I did was to put a removal order for the last units I had, because it was like two beach toy sets, two different sets in one bundle, but it was too big. So I pulled them out. I'm separating them in the two original sets. So I changed the photos, I improved them, I did a lot of changes, and I think it's working right now. That's the first time I sell like one previous set, but it actually sells at my target price. So it's like yay. But the main keywords that that brings me bring me sales are the big keywords like the sand toys or beach toys, and those are really expensive. So I have another keywords: beach toys for girls, beach toys for toddlers, but they usually get some clicks but not many sales. So how can I improve that pay-per-click campaign if just the main keywords are the ones that are working?
I can jump in first on this side. So what I would first do, Gina, is, are you using the secret gem hack that we have in the launch section? And do you know what I'm referring to by the secret gem hack?
No.
Okay. So what it is, so this is a very common issue where you have a short tail keyword that's actually getting your sales, but it's costing you a ton of money. Then the long tail keywords aren't getting you the sales, and they're very cheap. Like, well, which one do I do? If I go with this one, I don't make money. If I with this one, I spend too much to make any money. So the first thing is, if you take are you running a manual ad campaign?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And are you doing exact match, phrase match?
I have with Santoys exact match, Santoys for girls or Santoys for toddlers, with phrase match, and Santoys for toddler girls or Santoys for toddler kids with a broad match.
So are you running these reports? You're downloading them. You're looking at your pay-per-click. You're looking at your conversion, your click-through rate, and you're looking at your conversion rate, right?
Right.
I'm just trying to establish a foundation from which we can build, right?
Sure.
Okay. So you know which keywords that you want to rank for. So those go in your manual campaign. Okay. Now what you can do is, are you running an automatic campaign at the same time?
No.
Okay. So if I was in your shoes, I always will run an automatic campaign. Even on some where I don't run a manual campaign because I don't need to, because it's selling well, but run an automatic campaign and consider this one to be your hunter. It's going to hunt for keywords that you may not know about yet that you should be ranking for or trying to use. Okay. So what you do is your automatic campaign, in that campaign, you're going to put as a negative keyword all the keywords that you think you want to rank for that are already in your manual campaign.
Okay.
What that does, it forces your automatic campaign, it has to work harder to find other keywords. And all of a sudden you start getting a bigger list of keyword ideas over here. So one campaign is hunting, it's pulling in different keyword ideas because the market is like this, it keeps changing. Then your manual campaign is sort of like your precise sniper. This is the one I want. This is the one I want. And that's where you're testing the keywords that you have. That's the first thing I would do.
Okay. One question there. Which is the budget for that on the bid?
Say it again.
The budget for that campaign, how much will it be? Like $10, $5.
You could do 20 a day, 30 a day. I would play with it and see how long it takes for it to run out. So you have to, it depends on the product category. So for example, in sports and outdoors, you're going to have a higher budget than if you're in like arts and crafts. So play with it, but it's going to be a much lower budget. So it could be anywhere from 10 to 50 a day. It could be 5 a day, but it's going to be a lower budget than this campaign over here as a general rule of thumb.
Okay, you say a lower budget, and actually, I mean, I'm just sending the products that I pulled out and I'm separating and everything. So I don't have many units at Amazon. And you say a lower budget. So I think, how much will it be the high budget? Because I'm running right now like $20 in each one of the 2 ASINs.
In your manual campaigns? Okay.
In the manual. So that for me is like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money.
I understand. But how fast are those budgets running out each day? Like, is it by morning? Is it? No,
by 5 in the afternoon.
Okay, so they're running the whole day, and so your budget. Okay, so I mean your budget may be okay. Here's the thing, and I know it's painful. You need to spend enough to get a ton of data. So. And Saad, I'll let you speak to this, brother. I'll just share with you what works for us. I'll spend a lot more up front, $500, sometimes $1,000 after a launch, just to get as much data as I can over several weeks. Then I'll bring the price down. I need as much data as I can. My guess, just based on what you shared, is what you need is more keyword ideas to test. That's my guess. And the last thing I'll share is, you know who your top competitors are, I'm assuming. Go to their listings. Look at their title, look at their bullet points, and see are there any keywords that they're using that I could also test as well.
Okay.
This brother.
Yeah, actually, all the points that you mentioned, they're really, these are actually the fundamentals. These are the great stuff. I actually would like to ask you, Gina, a few things, because I would like to know, where did you get your keywords from? Like you said, you did manual and you're doing exact and phrase. So my question is going to be, where did you get the keywords from? You just came up with them, or you actually did the research? Because nobody jumps into manual campaign unless you have a list of keywords.
No, is that I started with this product back in November. So at the beginning, I ran an automatic campaign, and then I kept searching for new keywords, putting a lot of keywords on negative keywords, because for example, I have one of my sets has a wagon and a small car, and I had a lot of clicks of people searching for radio flyer wagon, the red wagon.
Yeah, but Gina,
do you know?
I understand, but if you run the automatic campaign in November when it's a low season, there's a lot of keywords you're actually not getting. Right. You understand me? So you need to run the automatic campaign again, because now summer toys, nobody's going to look at them in November. Yes, you will have some people searching for them, but not the majority of people. So what you need to do, I really recommend that you start with automatic campaign, get all the data that you need. All right, all the keywords, all the clicks, all the impressions. I go with this rule, but it's up to you for sure. I go with anything keywords that has more than 900 impressions, click-through rate over 0.25%, and I would like generally get something. I don't care about the ACOS now. Okay, so any high ACOS, I'm okay with it. And also for the CPC, for the cost per click, I would like to go with something up to $1.30.
Okay.
Before it used to be less than $1, but now $1.30 is very good. The other thing I would like to recommend to you in the automatic campaign, please make sure that you optimize your listing 100%, because the automatic campaign will never work correctly if the listing itself is not optimized with the keywords. And today I'm going to share one hack for you guys, okay? Just because you guys here, and I'll trust me, it works every time. Just remind me now for titles. Now, for you guys, let's say I'm doing a pool float, right? Floater or something like that. Like I just write the short tail keywords, pool float. Now I'm going to get a lot of listings. I'm going to get 22 listings. Okay. I'm going to take all the titles, including the sponsored ones. So all the titles, all of them, take them, put them in a notepad, all of them. Now I have 22 or 30 titles. I'm going to take these titles, I'm going to put them into a keyword counter frequency counter. Now, when you put all the titles into the keyword frequency counter, you will actually tell you, hey, listen, from all this list that you gave me, I'm having 15 times pool being mentioned. There's 12 times floater is being mentioned. You will see according to how many is being mentioned, you actually can build your title accordingly. That means you actually matched all the titles. You matched all your competitors. So now when you run the automatic campaign, you know you're getting basically 100% of all your competitors' keywords. So that trick, I don't share it as much, but for you guys advanced, I was like, let's go ahead and give it to you. All right. The other thing I would like to ask you, recommend for you guys, and do not think about PPC as I'm spending money. No, you're collecting data, as Seth said. So what I recommend you to do, run automatic campaign. All right. Go with a budget of 30 to 50 bucks, as Seth suggested. Okay. And then for the default bid, they're going to give you a suggested bid. They're going to say, hey, listen, we recommend $1 or $1. Let's make $1 just for easier math. $1. What I would do, I would raise the dollar from 3 to 5% higher. So it'll be $1.03 or $1.05. So now I'm actually higher than the average people who have been selecting the suggested default bid. So I'll be able to win bids higher. Once you do that, then I will actually get my keywords, my ad reports, and then I can filter it to be able to put it into a phrase match or exact match. Exact is the last thing to do. And the last tip I will give you guys, for running PPC campaigns, I really recommend that highly. Run the automatic campaign from 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Eastern until 8 p.m. Eastern, because that's when the rush is. That's when everyone's buying things. So you'll be able to actually get a lot of clicks and a lot of sales because of the traffic that you're getting. And the other tip, ninja tip, I'll give you that again. I would go a lower budget with another campaign with a lower budget and a lower default bid, but I will run it from 8 until the overnight. I'll be able to collect some bids or win some clicks from that's everybody is not running, because a lot of people have a budget, they run out after 8 or 9. You're actually getting some sales from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m., for example.
And how do you control the hours?
It's manually. You have to do it. You have to.
Okay.
Yeah, you pause, enable, and that's it. So I hope that was helpful.
Awesome.
You just set your alarm and your phone goes off. Oh, gotta run in.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. I have another question.
Let me jump to Jonathan first.
Okay.
Jonathan, do you have a question you wanted to ask, brother?
Yes, I do, please. So I have a problem right now where my reviews have been deleted by Amazon.
Yep.
I didn't have a whole lot, maybe 25 or so, but for some reason they were deleted, and I've been calling in, and they sent me to their customer help, and I haven't received any information from them yet. But in worst case scenario, I'd like to start over and get more reviews. And the PSP campaign is not really working for some reason for me. Maybe my price is a little high. So what are my alternatives here? I know that we have the main key reviewers list that I could go to solicit reviews. I've tried the launch page. Really no response from that. So kind of running out of options to get reviews at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So that's my question. What other options do I have right now?
Yeah. How many of your reviews are deleted? All of them, or some?
Yeah.
All of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get all of them through doing a launch?
I got all those reviews way back when we were doing launches from the launch page.
Okay, got you. And so all of them are through a launch. So they were through an artificial launch. They weren't organic.
A couple, one or two.
Okay. So we did a webinar, Alan and I did a webinar last Monday on this topic. Over the last few weeks, Amazon's been coming in and just wiping out tons of reviews. sometimes organic as well. So we did a survey, we created it, we sent it out, and asked a whole bunch of different questions. And we took all that data and we just calculated, okay, what is it telling us? And here's what we found as a pattern. We don't know exactly, but here's the pattern that we found. In every situation, Amazon removed reviews when someone had a low, when the ratio of purchases to reviews was close. For people who had a lot of organic buys already, they either lost one or two or none of the reviews. They didn't lose any, because they had a lot of organic buys and the review level is low. So what we found is Amazon is now, when they see a whole bunch of buys and the majority of those buys get a review, removed. Now we did check and we said, okay, does this have something to do with Just One Dime warriors reviewing each other's products? And we couldn't find any pattern, because a lot of people who they had gone to other launch places to do the same thing, and it wasn't with Just One Dime. If the ratio was there, they were removed. If the ratio was good, if it was a great discrepancy, then it wasn't removed. So our understanding, and again, we don't know, is that's what's causing Amazon to remove reviews in one big fell swoop. Just boom, all of a sudden they're gone.
Makes sense.
So here's what I would do if I was in your shoes. It happened to several of our products as well, and some where we didn't do a launch. They removed some of the reviews. It's like, man, like what's going on? Here's what I would do, man. I would go and get, well, first of all, let me go back. How many organic sales are you getting every day on average?
So I've been doing sponsored PPC campaign, and I'll do 3 or 4 a day, organic. It is a little pricey for the PPC campaign, because I noticed because of the reviews, or the lack of reviews, that may be really hurting me.
Gonna hurt your conversion.
Well, so I can't tell whether that's the main risk factor that's really impacting my sales. But I'm running them just to get information anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to tell you on that.
So your total sales without doing a launch are 3 to 4 a day? Okay. So here's what I would do, man. I would very slowly get new reviews on there. So if I were you, I would make it your goal to get 3 great reviews. And by great, I mean don't be super elaborate. Most real reviews are pretty short. Make one of them a video review. I would find someone who can buy that at its full price and just say, look, would you buy this for me? Would you review it for me? And if you decide to pay them on the back and whatever, that's fine. Amazon can't track what we do through PayPal or anything. And I would do that completely independent of anything else. And I would do it maybe over the next like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Very slowly. So that way you have these buys coming in and all of a sudden, oh, one of them's a review. Chances are, and again, we don't know because Amazon doesn't tell anyone, chances are Amazon won't remove those, and you slowly build them up again. And make one of them a video review, because video reviews are proven over and over again to have a higher conversion rate.
Right.
Especially if it's a super non-professional video. If it's professional, no. But if it looks like someone just grabbed their camera and the lighting's bad, I'm like, oh, look at this, and I like it. And like something they even could say, hey, here's something that they could improve on it. I wish they would do this. But here's what I really love. When someone says that, that indicates to people, oh, this is real. They're not just saying, oh, it's so wonderful and perfect. They're actually sharing even some of the things that could be better, but they're doing it in a way that isn't negative or causes your product to be less than the competition. Now I'm going to share one more thing, and this is hard. I'll completely be straight up with you, brother. This is very difficult, but it's true. There are some people in our community who, when they launch the product, and it's happened to a few of mine, not the most, not the majority, but a few, started selling without reviews because the listing was so well differentiated. So reviews do have power. They do matter. But in going from 0 to 3 reviews is a much bigger jump than going from 3 reviews to 25. Once you start getting more and more and more, the impact becomes weaker and weaker because it's more diluted. It's like, oh, of course, yeah, they got a lot of reviews. In other words, if I see a product and it has 3 really good reviews and I read them and I really love the listing, I'm very likely to buy it. But if it has none, it's very low.
Right.
So put more focus on your photos, your title, and how the listing looks. There are other things that convert. Reviews is not everything.
Sure.
You need some. But once you have some, getting more, each time you get more, the the power of each goes down a little bit because now it's just a bunch of reviews. See what I mean? But actually, but they need to see 5 stars or 4.5. They need to see that. Otherwise, and there are cases where people have done it without. But that's a very unique situation where they were extremely differentiated, and their product was clearly better than the competition.
Yeah, and that was kind of, I'm sorry, that kind of piggybacks on my next question, is that do we have a system, or can we have a system where we can get fellow warriors to just look at our listing and then give us positive feedback or feedback on that listing as far as photos and information, or I didn't get this or I didn't get that? Because the other problem I have is, I'm sorry to take a lot of time, is that I get a lot of clicks. I can see like 150 clicks, and my turnover rate is only 3 or 4 a day. I know my listing is missing something or something's wrong with it. I just need some like feedback from some people who actually know what they're looking for. Who would I do that with? Just kind of reach out to people that say, hey, can you take a look at this and let me know what you think? Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah, really going back to really manual, doing everything over again.
If I were you, I would post it on the advanced group first. And here's what I would do. Make it super easy for them. Search your main keyword. Take your favorite keyword that you want to rank for. Okay. Search it on Amazon. Get a screenshot of that first page. Now, will your listing show up on that first page?
I'm on the 3rd page right now.
Okay. Take your listing, cut it out, Photoshop it into that picture, like right there in the middle somewhere.
Sure. Make
it fake, okay? So it's added. So now when people look at it, they're comparing your listing to the best. Then post that on the Facebook group. You can do both. I would start with the advanced, because you're going to get probably more insightful answers, but fewer answers, obviously, because it's a much smaller group. And just say, hey, everyone, and don't tell them what it is. Hey, everybody, would you please tell me from your top 3, from 1st to 2nd to 3rd, which is your favorite and why? And that's just based on the search. Then I would wait, and maybe a week later, take your 5 top competitors or 4 top competitors, and we've done this literally. Like, we'll take our products, we'll get pictures when we're launched, and we'll share them with people and get their feedback. In Photoshop, like as if you clicked on the listing, you see the majority of the listing, just the title, the pictures, the bullet points, that part, not the product description way down.
Okay.
And screenshot it and have a whole page of all the main listings, and yours is mixed in there, and ask the same question. So what you're doing is you're doing 2 things. Number 1, you're saying, how does my listing compare on a search results page? Then you're saying, how does my listing compare when you've actually clicked on the listing itself and you're looking at that listing in the URL to the others?
Okay.
Again, I would say give me a 1 to 3, your favorite, your 2nd, your 3rd, and why, and make sure they don't know which one is yours. That feedback's going to be golden. And then 3rd, do the same thing on PickFu. You can compare different photos and see which ones people like, but with your own photos, obviously, not other people's photos.
Right.
Actually, Seth, I mean, I agree with you 100% on everything, brother. I just have a few pointers for Jonathan, and maybe he can little bit do them. Jonathan, actually, you know what? I agree with Seth about, I really think that your product, you don't have keyword problems. In my issue. Why? Because you're getting the clicks. If you're getting 50 clicks, that means actually people are looking at it, is finding it, and they're clicking on it. So what I would look at yours, I would look maybe at the price, see if there's actually perceived value. Is there any differentiation you do to the product or not? And make sure that the keyword that generating this clicks, it's relative to your product. Is like, for example, in Gina's example, she said summer toy. People saw a floater, but then find out it's not a floater. It's something else for winter, let's say, for example. Okay, so I would see the keyword that you actually getting clicks, if it's relative or not, and make sure the differentiation. At the same time, I actually agree with Seth about the product. If it differentiated very well, we just launched the product and has no, I mean, actually we get some reviews and then we lost a few of them. We have only maybe 1 review. Okay, what happened is that actually we're still generating 2 to 3 sales. Why? Because we're strong differentiating. Our listing is optimized. It's true we're not getting the same conversion as you said. PPC is now hurting, which is normal. So what I would do with PPC, I actually need to tone it down. Okay, lower the bids because you're not going to convert well if you don't have, a good product or differentiate it, and if you're having a lower reviews, because all that's going to affect. I agree, reviews are not important, but if your product is lacking differentiation, it will hurt you. So I would really lower my PPC and work on getting reviews. The other thing, maybe, Seth, that's something I was thinking about actually. Instead of doing big foo, do it in our group in the advanced. Maybe it's a service that also be offered in the BSP as a section. Hey, put your photo and see which one is good. We have the people there. Just click yes or no, and then you're gonna get a report of if this images are good or converting or not. That's it.
That's a really good idea, man. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have another thing to add there. Jonathan, do you have the emails that send automatically after a customer buys? Okay, that I think that is an important thing to have in place, because if Amazon sees one seller that is having some sales and a lot of reviews, but the person is not working for the review, when we send an email to a customer, it goes into the Amazon system and they can track that. So I think that should be like a must have when you will get some reviews, and check what are you saying there. Many of the coaches and said have told about how to write the messages, that you maybe can make them funny or something different to get people's attention. Try to change that or optimize that too, because that will be like something that Amazon can track. And if you are not sending that it looks suspicious that you are getting some reviews if the people is not getting anything from you, like the email. And on the other hand, for the people in the group, they should have the messages. They must be able to receive the messages from other sellers. And for example, I buy a lot of products from the launch page, but I don't receive many mails from the people that is selling the products. So it must be suspicious to Amazon that I'm going to give a review from someone if they don't even send me one email. So I think that's a must-have when you are doing a launch, to have that in place, and check the format that you have in those things.
No, that's a good point. Thanks. Yeah, I do have it already there, and it's automatic. So yeah, I set that up on timer. But that's a really good point. Thanks.
Okay. Can I ask you another question?
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. I have it written down, and I'll get started on that.
Awesome.
Okay. I want to know how is the process when you want to launch in another marketplaces. I'm living in the US, so everything is easy here because you just send the things to Amazon warehouses and that's it. But I see that I have the option to sell on Amazon Canada and Amazon Mexico, but I don't know. What do I need to do? Do I need to send products to their warehouses? Do I need something special in taxes, like create a company there or something like that?
Saad lives in Canada, so I'll let him start with this. I do so in Canada, but he's Canadian.
Yeah, I'm Canadian. In
Yay.
Florida, I'm loving it here in Florida, by the way, just to let you know. You know what, Gina, what happens is that every platform or every marketplace that you want to sell in, you have to have your units in that specific marketplace. So if I want to sell in Canada, you have to have it in Canada. Now, I live in Canada, but I live in the States. So my situation is a little bit different. So what I do, I create a company in Canada, and I have an LLC in the States. So whatever I get from the LLC, I actually just bring it to my CPA and will be able to take care of it. But I found out I did this for almost a year, and then I hired a very little bit expensive accountant. Okay, which it made a big difference. Actually, it's worth it. Actually, he told me actually it's better to do it as a sole proprietorship. You don't need to go through LLC because you'll be like double taxed. So if you do it with sole proprietorship, it's actually much better for you to get whatever, because we have a treaty with the United States. So whatever we get into the States, I just declared as my personal income, and I'm good to go. And actually, I pay way lower because the company that I have located in Canada be able to process a very, very lower rate or taxing rate. Now, for you, because you have doing the opposite, I cannot give you actually an advice because I really think you should speak to CPA. I was in your place one day and I heard advices and I wasn't able to get the right advice after 1 year. So I really think you should speak to someone with it, especially for taxation and companies setting up stuff. Especially we have treaties. You have treaties between Canada and the States. So I'm sorry, I cannot speak of that.
Okay, but it's like, I mean, you need to send inventory there. Yes. And to have some kind of legal entity there to
you don't
be
need
able
to.
to
So
sell
what
there.
you do, just make sure that you actually in the Canadian profile you're setting account, you can put your name for now. All right, and the only thing you need to do from China, send the stuff to Canada. Make sure it's gonna be a little bit different. You're gonna get taxed more, and it will take a little bit longer because the process in the customs of Canada, it's, I don't know, there may be entrepreneurs, but it really it takes time. And they also tax, I think, around 17% or something like that. I don't recommend. I mean, I don't sell in Canada myself, so I cannot say, hey, go ahead sell in Canada. But it's good to sell on multiple platforms to get extra sales.
Okay, and what about eBay? Moving to eBay, like putting the listing there and moving inventory there.
You don't need to. Just what I would recommend, because we're coming up with an eBay course, actually is complete, but we just need to finish a few things. What I would recommend is actually send all the product to Amazon FBA. Okay, have them in their warehouse, and then download an app called Joe Lister.
Okay.
And that's what list everything into eBay. So whatever sales you get from eBay, there actually will be a real-time detection, real-time inventory stock. So you'll be able to fulfill the items from Amazon to the customer. So you don't need to do it manually. And you need to expect around 1/4 to 1/6 of the sales in Amazon. Okay. So if you sell 10 units, you can sell around 2.5 to 3 units a day, which adds up a lot at the end of the year.
And how are the fees there?
Because you're going to be fulfilled from Amazon. They're going to fulfill you 13%, 10 to 13%, because you have the 10% that Amazon commission plus 3% from PayPal fees.
But eBay, how much do they charge?
You pay
10? That's the 10?
Yeah, 10 to 13%.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. One thing I was going to add to that too is when you're selling in the US, it's much easier to go from the US to another country than from another country to the US. Because if you start in the US and then you sell in Canada or Mexico or Europe or Germany, your reviews transfer over. Now they will say this is from the other marketplace, but that gives you a huge head start. And then one more thing I was going to mention is selling in Mexico is a little bit more complicated than Canada because you have to get a business license through them. And the fastest way to do that is use a third party who can do it for you. Now, I know you habla usted español, correct?
Yes.
So that gives you an advantage. I speak very little Spanish. You know, Saad, he's fluent in Spanish. He dreams in Spanish. He's no problem. But what I would do is get a third-party company, and I have one. I can send you their information if you want. They're very good, and they can set it up for you. Because to get a business license in Mexico, you have to have a presence there. So they create a presence for you as if it was an office. It's like a PO box, and once that's done, then you can have a business license. Then when you ship your products, it will go through customs, but they have to use that business license to approve it. Kind of like when people are in the United Kingdom and they ship to Amazon's warehouse in the US. It's more complicated than being in the US because they have to have an import license in order to be able to do that. So there's a little more restrictions on there, but I can give you this guy's information. He's very, very good. tell him I sent you. And he's actually commented on numerous of my blogs and helped a lot of people with this because it gets complicated.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
I want to grow so big and I don't have so many units.
Gina, be careful. Honestly, advice from me, be careful. I think you should capitalize on the US. Make sure that you really do everything, get multiple products, make money. And trust me, it's very easy after with any other marketplace. Because if you perfect Amazon.com, the rest of the game is easy. It's just a formula. It's a math. You can tweak whatever you want any way you want. So do not go, I mean, going too big fast, yes, is good. But if you have the budget, if you have the knowledge, if you have the effort to be able to support that. So I would do 2-3 products that really do very well, and then you can duplicate them in different marketplaces. This is my opinion, but that's what I think you should do.
Yeah, no, and this is for the future. I just see you guys, and I want to do the same thing as you someday. So I'm kind of preparing, starting now, because there are a lot of things that you need to know beforehand to don't make those mistakes that you made.
Right.
You make every time.
Yeah.
So I like to know everything about that.
I'm gonna jump to another question. We have a few questions chat here. So Mitra says, could you please explain about adding variety on our listing? How does it work if only one the kind has review? Does this review will help the other varieties? So I think, Mitra, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're referring to is creating variations, so child variations off of your listing. So if you start with one and it has reviews, and then you create a variation off of that, the variations don't carry the reviews. So for example, let's say I have a brown mug and a black mug, and I add on a blue mug. Okay, the blue mug does not get the reviews, so it splits the reviews up. And usually the way it will work is that, and it's somewhat random, Amazon will give the highest selling agent the reviews. So if you split 1 into 2, okay, those reviews are going to go somewhere. And if the original was brown and you're adding a black, so it goes from a parent listing only to 2 children, then chances are the brown, if that's when you were selling, will take the reviews and the other one doesn't have them. So each variation would have to get its own reviews. However, here's an advantage for you. When you're selling the brown and you find it and you look underneath and you can see the other one as an option, it looks like the reviews are for the other one, even though they're not. So it gives the appearance of that. So breaking off to a variation that your customers want is much less risky than starting a new listing. Now, there's something else you can do. You can actually start with your main listing, okay, and create a, let me go back. Okay, so you can start with your main listing, create a bunch of variations, build up those reviews, and I mean reviews on each, and then split those off into separate listings so that you can dominate that first page of search results. So when someone searches for your keyword, now you have a whole bunch of listings coming up on that first page. Not one with variations, but each one is a different ASIN, a different entire listing. The disadvantage is obviously, again, that breaks your reviews apart. But if you already have reviews and you're dominating, when people see things over and over and over again, after a while, they're conditioned to buy it. So let me know if that's helpful. Anything you would add to that, Saad?
You're spot on, brother. I mean, 100%. I think she's just worried about visibility, and she wants to get the other products in to make sure that just having the stars even the same, but also that, as Seth said, is not because all the main image is going to be on the one that's getting more sales velocity, right? So don't expect to have the results right away. But I would encourage you to also, for example, if you're saying the black and the white mug, make sure the white mug keyword it's in your backend keyword, in your title, in bullet points, and everything you need. Because if someone types white, the white one will show up instead of, hey, coffee mug. So the black one will show up instead. So other than this, just spend money on PPC a bit, and you will get it.
Yeah, and you can target your PPC, like Saad said, to different ones. So you have your white ones, you have your brown ones, you have your blue ones, and then that's going to give you more data. And it's weird. Sometimes you'll find one of the variations, people are using other keywords for that variation, not for this one, and it's not what was different. It wasn't the color. It's just something like, tall or something really random. You're like, what? But you find that's what they're thinking, and so you don't go with what's logical. You go with what people are searching. Jesse says 2 months ago, with his resourcing company. He was trying to get a mold produced. Last Friday, he was sent the updated, adjusted design for approval. And after review, it turns out to be exactly as original. Jesse, the first thing I would do, brother, is get a sourcing agent to go meet with the company in person and talk to them. Because being physically present there can make a huge, huge difference. That is extremely frustrating, and I'm sorry to hear that. And I'm curious, did they physically ship you a sample from the mold, or did they just send you pictures? And what are they saying? You know, I would ask them, hey, what's going on? Why didn't it change? And then I would literally get someone to go talk to them. I go get them to talk to them and say, look, I need your help. You know, tell me what's going on. It increases the accountability like crazy, man.
Brother Seth, don't we have this service, like basically an agent to go there? Because I think it's very important when you play with molds. And I think you should, if you want to make sure that your the mold is brand new, I'll make sure, for example, my keyword, my word, I don't know if you can see it, is embedded into the mold itself.
Yeah.
So you know this is actually be made for you and not being duplicated to someone else. You're spending money. I think spending a little bit, a few hundreds extra to get someone to verify it, it's really worth it, guys.
Gotcha. And he said that he sent his prototype through Hickory Flats. So Hickory Flats doesn't do molds. I know Tim Jordan really well. Oh, you're saying, so Tim Jordan's team found the mold company for you. Okay. Then first thing I would do is ask Lauren or Tim, just ask him, hey, could you talk to the company? Do you know what's going on? Any advice? And then second, ask Hickory Flats if they'll put you in direct contact with that company. Chances are it won't be a conflict of interest because you're partnering with Hickory Flats anyways. It's not like you're going to run away with it. You know what I mean? If you guys are going in together on this, then that's what I would do, man. Absolutely 100%. So I love the example you saw of the embossing. I love that because then it deletes the competition. And a lot of times molding companies, they don't want to emboss because they want the option to sell it to other people, which increases competition for you, which gets them more sales. And so that's where you guys have to be really, really direct and say, look, this is what you're going to do. In response to what you mentioned, Saad, so yes, we have a team in China. We currently closed several of those sourcing options because we have something new that we're working on for you guys. So we don't directly right now have someone who could go and travel to the company for you, but we're working on that. Cool. Okay. Awesome, Jesse. Gina, go ahead.
No.
No more questions? Okay.
Not for now. No, I have a question, Seth. Is that in the group, in the Just One Time in Español, I did a presentation of the GS1 barcodes, how to use them, what they are for, and everything. And I know that there is a lot of confusion about the barcodes and the FNSKU and everything in the group in general. Yeah. So I would like to offer, if possible, if you think that it will help, to do the same presentation but for the group in English. So if you want, I could do it with, I don't know, someone or something like that.
If David Lopez approves, then you got my support. I trust the coach. Awesome. On the same team. So if he approves it for his group, of course.
Yeah. No, I talked with him about that, and he told me that he was going to tell you, but you have been doing a lot of things. So
busy. Yeah, no problem. Did you do it like as a live webinar, or is it recorded, or how did you do it?
It was a live webinar, and it worked pretty well. There were some questions and everything, and I have the whole presentation ready with I don't know, examples and how to put the barcodes in the products and all the links and everything. So
thank you so much for offering, and I think that'd be a huge value to people, because I think for one of my older videos where I talked about using eBay, people get confused about that. I no longer recommend that. We still use barcodes we got UPC from eBay, and they work fine, no issues. But I don't think it's wise moving forward because Amazon constantly changes. So I think everyone would love that. If Saad approves, do you approve, Saad?
Brother, I approve. Anybody who wants to help everybody, I think it's important, and that's why we have a community that's want to help each other. And I think any piece of information really it goes a long way. And also, I think you should check the file section into our Facebook group, because I think Dan did one also about JS1. It's very detailed. I know he's not a very detailed person, but I think in this one he was.
He's not detailed at all. Yeah, thank you for offering, Gina. And Lucas says, thanks, Gina. I would love it. So, yeah, that's awesome. And we got 2 more questions, and we'll wrap it up. Mitra says, thank you. How can I add a new listing? So you mean I should have different ACE and UPC? Yeah, so if you're going to add a whole new, well, okay, so if you add a variation, yep, you have to have a different UPC for that. If you're adding a whole new listing, just add a new listing. But if you want to add a child variation, you have to go back into your settings on the listing itself and click the option to have multiple options for it. And it breaks it down. Each one is its own row, and each one has its own UPC. And then over here, you select what the variation is. Is it quantity? Is it color? Is it size? Is it length? Things like that. And then can I add FNSKU to my box? If you're speaking about your retail box, 100% you can. That's something you have the supplier do. So you go as if you were going to ship it out. You go into your shipping settings. It pulls up. You take that, you save it as a PDF, and you take that little code, that bar, those numbers from your FNSKU, and you send it. You email it or WeChat it or Skype it to your supplier and tell them you need them to add that to the retail packaging. Yes, they do say that, Lucas. They do. And so far, if they do follow through, sorry, guys, I'll read it. Lucas says, Amazon says they will suppress it if it's not GS1. If they actually follow through on that for past ones and not grandfather them in, then they're going to close literally millions of listings around the world. And I don't think they will. But moving forward, there's a very high chance that they will do that. Now, the nice thing about a suppressed listing is you can fix it and get it active again. It's not like your account is, flagged and removed, but still, there's definitely risk there. Okay.
So, there about the barcodes. If you have the GS1 barcodes, you don't need to print the FNSKU anywhere.
Right. Here's what you have to do, though. When your product goes into Amazon, it has to have something on it in order to identify it to go in the warehouse.
The UPC, the barcode. Right. But it's the GS1 barcode.
Right.
Nothing else. I have that in my products, and I never had a problem. But I only use the UPC barcode.
That's an option. You can do both if you wanted to.
Yeah. But I mean, if you are going to expand to retail or another platform or somewhere else, you will need to change your packaging or something like that. If you have the FNSKU instead of the GS1 barcode. But if you have just the GS1 barcode, you can expand everywhere and you won't have to change anything.
Right.
So,
and this is a really good point. And I'm going to expound on it just for a second. This is really good because the GS1 UPC barcode is universally accepted. The FNSKU is unique to Amazon. It's kind of like you have your own SKU. I have my own SKUs, right? They're unique to me. I can call it whatever I want. I could call it, purple lollipops if I want. But the GS1 the UPC is universal. So you're 100% correct. So if I want to sell this in a retail store, then I need that UPC code to be identified, and they will recognize that universally. Awesome. Cool. All right. Hey, any last words, Saad, before we close it up, brother?
No, that's. I think you should invite me more often. I enjoy that Gina's here and Jonathan and everyone, which is really nice. It's a very small group, very warming. So thank you so much for having me. It's really awesome, guys, and I hope you really get a little bit of value from this. And thank you so much for having me again.
You know what it reminds me of, Saad, is when we did the masterminds and when we did road shows. It really reminds me of that because it's a smaller group, a lot more time for each person, and a lot more questions, but more in depth. It's a different feel than the broader, bigger group. And that's one of the things I love about this community. So awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Saad, for being here, brother.
Thank you so much.
You guys have an awesome weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.